Outrage erupted at the United Nations yesterday after UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres implied that Israel provoked the brutal terrorist invasion of Hamas, which included the murder of women, children, and the elderly. Guterres attempted to walk back those comments after Israeli officials called for the UN chief's resignation and questioned the legitimacy of the organization he leads. Now, while the United States stands behind Israel as a stalwart ally, what do the UN leaders' comments reflect about the support from the international bureaucracy, which we are funding? Joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida. He's a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman Waltz, welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Good to be with you, and what a great day for Christians around the world and for the Family Research Council to get Speaker Mike Johnson.
I think he's going to be a great leader for the House, as we saw today, unifying the Republican conference, moving forward. And of course, you've worked with him on the House Armed Services Committee. You know the quality gentleman that he is. And so I'm excited for all of you there in the House that we're going to see some good things happen.
It's time to get back to work, Tony. Our adversaries around the world smell weakness in the White House, and the only entity in Washington pushing the Biden administration to do the right thing, whether it's on the border or with Iran, and stopping bad policy everywhere we can, we're House Republicans. So it was a phenomenally frustrating 3 weeks. I'm not sure. Well, let's just move forward.
Well, I want to play a clip because I want to get a response to you from the UN Secretary General. Play clip number 6.
The attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing.
Now, Congressman, he's tried to walk those back today, but he said the same thing almost identically on October the 8th. I mean, what does this tell us about the United Nations?
Well, he's just saying the quiet part out loud, and they're showing their true colors. This is why we in the House have voted to defund huge portions of the UN. You rightly point out that we cover about a quarter of their entire budget, but specific agencies, like the UN Human Rights Organization that has, China and Cuba sitting on it, or UNESCO, which a lot of people think, heck, that's just kind of preserving historic sites around the world. Yes, but they also teach blatantly anti-Semitic teachings through a number of its courses. So we've just got to take an axe to our funding of the UN. It has gone way off the rails from its original intention. And oh, by the way, when you have a Security Council member in Russia invading its neighbors, we didn't hear too many harsh words from the UN General Secretary then. And I wonder if, in the back of his mind, does he think the United States provoked 9/11? Because what he said it's just may as well have been written by Osama bin Laden or the leaders of Hamas or Mughniya and Hezbollah or some other extremist organization. It's just ridiculous, and he should resign.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be funding this organization. In fact, I just had Chuck Holton, war correspondent, on from Israel, and he was talking about what's happening in the north, on the northern border of Israel, and the UN peacekeeping troops there in Lebanon are doing absolutely nothing to keep the peace up there. I mean, what's the point?
No, not only are they not keeping the peace, they often turn a blind eye to what Hezbollah is up to up there. But yeah, there's been UN peacekeepers sitting there. There's still UN peacekeepers sitting in the Sinai. You're absolutely right, and House Republicans are moving to defund it.
So let's talk about what happened on the floor today. First order of business was to express support for Israel.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We got back to work, and the first thing we did put a resolution on the floor expressing support for Israel. But I'm going to continue to call my Democrat colleagues to the carpet and call them out, because behind all of this is Iran. It's easy to say we support Israel, but the reality is, as long as Gaza, as long as Hamas in Gaza, as long as Hezbollah in Lebanon, the militias in Iraq are receiving the funding, the ammunition, the training. The Wall Street Journal is now reporting that 500 elite Palestinian militants trained directly in Iran. As long as the head of the snake has its coffers full, which they do, only under this administration, they did not under President Trump's maximum pressure, then this is going to keep happening. We have to deal with Iran. This administration has an Iran problem that they don't want to admit, and that's why you're seeing this kind of equivocating. Everything from our bases that are being hit, to whether the intelligence show that they were directly involved, to whether they were absolutely wrong on the Iran deal, and on the sanctions they're ignoring that has Iran flush with cash.
I mean, it makes no sense at all. We're funding our enemy to attack our allies, and then we're giving money to our allies to fight off the enemy that we funded.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Tony. And to take it a step further, it really is this administration's failed energy policy. We should be flooding global markets with American clean energy that comes, that we are blessed to have, that drives down the price of oil and gas, that takes cash out of the coffers of Putin and takes cash out of the coffers of the Ayatollah. Every time they've gotten aggressive like this and started invading neighbors or funding their proxies, it's been when the price of oil gets near $100 a barrel. And so it's all tied into this green obsession that they have that is actually indirectly making our adversaries rich, and then we're spending against ourselves. It is just completely, you just couldn't make this up, except that this is exactly what the administration's doing.
I mean, it's really not complex. It really is pretty simple. You just go back to the basics, but it is frustrating, and it's troubling, and it's extremely dangerous. Congressman Mike Waltz, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for taking time to join us this afternoon.
Will do, Tony. This is why we got to get back to work. Thanks so much. God bless.